Time now for our weekly look at something you have a right to know about, the Constitution. Earlier in the show, we talked about the military's ongoing involvement in Afghanistan. Today, more than ever, politicians take it for granted that we need a large standing army with bases all over the world. Well, the Founding Fathers, by contrast, did not even expect America to have a standing army, seeing it as a potential threat to their personal liberty. But how else could problems such as terrorists' training camps in Afghanistan be dealt with? According to Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, you can look this up, the same section that gives Congress the power to raise armies, one method is something called letters of marque and reprisal. In essence, the hiring of private mercenaries. The government names a target, offers compensation, and the free market in guns for hire takes care of the rest. With that method, maybe bin Laden would have been found years ago with millions of lives and billions saved and billions of tax dollars unspent without ever having to worry about an American tyrant having an army at his disposal. Oh, well, we didn't do it. Now more with our Freedom Panel, freedom fighters, former Congressman Barry Goldwater Jr. and economists Don Boudreaux and Ann Lee. This week, the Business Roundtable, which has supported the president in the past, came out and blasted the White House, calling it hostile to business. Is it hostile to business? Professor Lee?
What's hostile is that policies keep changing so much, and when people have political uncertainty, they're not going to invest. And that is the problem. But just simply having government...
Has the president created political uncertainty with policies changing from day to day?
I would agree with that statement.
You would agree with that statement. Professor Boudreaux, this is a White House that intimidated banks into taking loans that they didn't want, that intimidated the bondholders of GM and Chrysler into subordinating their interests that they didn't want, which intimidated BP into coughing up $20 billion that it didn't want. And earlier this week, it tried to intimidate insurance carriers into not doing what they have the right to do, raise premiums, until the new law kicks in. What are the consequences in the long term, Professor Boudreaux, to central planning by politicians in Washington?
Disaster. Look, if this keeps up, we will be a banana republic. These are banana republic policies. And as Professor Lee rightly said, this is creating a lot of uncertainty. That's what kept the Depression going on for so long in the 1930s. It wasn't the economy itself, but the New Deal policies were so interventionist. They kept changing from year to year, and investors didn't know what to do, so they didn't invest.
Your father, Congressman Goldwater, risked the wrath of people in his own party when he attacked these New Deal policies, when he warned against the Fed printing money. The federal debt is now $14 trillion. Isn't it time we audited the Fed, that we knew more about what this super secret bank is doing to our economy?
Well, absolutely. The Fed is almost a fourth leg of our economy and our government. And yet we know little about what they're doing and about what their policies are. They even control the supply of gold at Fort Knox, and yet we have no accounting on the amount of gold that we have in Fort Knox. The Federal Reserve is out of control. It is, in my opinion, the primary cause of these economic meltdowns that we've had back through the past years. The dot-com bubble, the savings and loan problems, and now the meltdown in the mortgage-backed securities. The Federal Reserve has been the basis of all that, and we need to know more about what they're doing.
Does the government, when it centrally plans the economy, have as its goal short-term gain or long-term gain? You have argued that the government should not make decisions on the basis of short-term gain.
This is true. I believe that the government can plan for long-term gains. You look at China, and their government has basically been very involved with the economy, and yet they've been able to create a very entrepreneurial economy as well.
But we don't have an entrepreneurial economy in this country. We have a government-regulated economy. We have private ownership and government. Even you, a progressive, would agree with that, wouldn't you?
I would agree. That's too blanket a statement, but I would say that we probably need better regulations, not necessarily just more regulations.
All right. But you do want the word free in the free market.
I would agree to having standards and sticking to them.
Got it. Congressman Goldwater, Professor Boudreaux, Professor Lee, thanks for joining us. Coming up, a less than thrilling milestone for stimulus spending. And now to our new media segment, Socializing Liberty. This week's question for our viewers and our online followers is, was President Obama right to get rid of General McChrystal? You can email me your thoughts on that and more at freedomwatch@foxbusiness.com and follow the revolution online at foxnews.com/freedomwatch. And now the plain truth. Should we trust government to fix the BP oil spill mess? Remember, this is the same government that told BP where to drill, that inspected the oil rigs, that capped the amount of money BP would have to pay in damages if something went wrong. Government cannot prevent every catastrophe. It causes more than its fair share. What has your government been up to? Since our last broadcast, the federal government has spent about $68 billion. Added another $7.5 billion to the federal debt, and somehow still found time to name a New Orleans post office after a beloved, recently deceased mailman, while the Rhode Island legislature, itself deeply in debt, decided to stop using the word retardation to describe the developmentally disabled. Stimulus spending keeps on going, with President Obama making a special appearance in Columbus, Ohio last week to celebrate the 10,000th road project created from the stimulus bills. Our congratulations to well-connected road construction companies across the land. Dig the hole, empty the hole. That's what the government likes to spend money on. Congratulations as well to nearly 1,300 prison inmates who managed to convince the government they bought homes while in prison and as a result received tax credits for it. Meanwhile, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer says the government may not even produce a budget this year since they can't agree on a deficit reduction plan. Oh, the government is in chaos, but Freedom Watch is your night watchman. We watch the government under cover of darkness, and we report to you when it steals your freedom and your property. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week from New York, defending freedom. So long, America.